Are you a garden phobic? Do you want to know how to make the best of your garden environment, your windowsill, your patio? Do you not have a clue about where the food that you eat comes from? Do you want to learn about what's in your garden, what you could plant in your garden, know where your food comes from, know about the soil, how you can use the space around you to grow your own food, whether it's a windowsill, a plant pot, a balcony, a patio? Well, this course is for you. My name is Sonia Scully. I'm the Learning Centre Manager for the PCS Learning Centre at the Union's headquarters in Clapham. We're piloting a course in March, hopefully, along with the May Project Garden for our members, their family, friends, community. And it's around learning to plant your own garden. And I'm going to talk to Ian Solomon now, who's going to give us a bit of a tour of the garden and some advice about the course, information about the course that will be running.
The May Project Garden was set up with myself, co-founder, and also the other co-founder, who's Randy Mayers. And he basically moved in 2008. And he was a very keen gardener, very keen, active environmentalist, you know, wanted to live off the land and all that kind of stuff as well. And so he kind of started to just transform this space. And we kind of, obviously he's living here, we kind of just became a part of that. We supported him on that journey of transforming the space from a debris, ordinary garden to one of a beautiful, an oasis in South London, as someone described it now as well. Exactly. And the name came from, well, interestingly enough, his surname's Mayers, but the name wasn't from that. The name came from the fact that we wanted to have a legacy or a memory of my mum, who passed away in 2005. And she suffered lots of illnesses. So we wanted to have something that was kind of a living testimony of her, a living kind of memory of her life, not her death. So those two things, those are the two kind of factors that made the development of the project to what it is today.
What is permaculture?
Permaculture is a set of design principles that are used to actually change environments or to work in accordance with the environment as opposed to against it. So something like agriculture or farming is more about us, what our needs are, you know, as human beings, trying to get what we can from the land.
What we need.
Exactly. But permaculture works in a different way, and it really looks at how do you work and complement the environment as opposed to taking away from the environment as well. So this whole project's been set up on a permaculture principle, design principles, and Randy's been very instrumental in doing the design for that as well.
Where should we start? These are
water butts. This is just a very simple example of something people can do just to reduce the amount of waste of water. So we basically have water butt systems, which basically just extracts the water that runs from the drains, from the gutter straight into the drains, and that's what this is as well.
So you take that, the water stored in here, and you can water the plants, whatever you've got growing.
There you go, you've got your watering cans right there as well. So we just take the water out, and then we just use the water to sprinkle upon the veggies.
So I see in front of us here we have a herb garden.
This is really a good way to actually grow herbs, but also utilise the space very well because it's a spiral. You can get a lot of herbs in a small space quite effectively. And what's really interesting here is that the herbs at the top tend to like the drier environment, and the herbs at the bottom tend to like the wetter environment. So the water runs round, and that's what accommodates the herbs accordingly as well. So that's basically what it is. And what happens here is that all the materials that we use have been recycled or upcycled and sourced naturally from the local area. So bricks from building sites, they're abundant. The wood you can see is bamboo and willow. That's from basically...
This is surrounding all of
that's correct.
Section here.
Exactly. So that's a very good way of basically just creating borders very naturally and cheaply as well, for free in fact.
So just explain the beds. For a start, the straw here?
Okay.
Significance of that?
The significance is, again, the permaculture principle looks at replicating what nature does. So similar to when you see autumn coming, or when autumn happens, the leaves drop. This is very much a similar system, and it's called mulch. And what's really good about mulch is it serves two purposes, well, probably a lot more than two, but two that I know of presently. And one, it reduces the amount of water that's needed to make the food grow, so you don't need to water it as much. And it also protects the soil from adverse weather conditions, sun or extreme colds as well. So as well as the mulch, you have the borders, again, which I mentioned before.
Willow.
Yeah, willow and bamboo. Yeah, exactly. The two, basically, those are two things, and we get that from the local park. And then we bring them, and they're really flexible, they can bend, and you can really create some really nice borders here. So that's the key feature here. A little bit of food is growing, but more will come as the season develops as well. The course is designed to get people starting from scratch, planting seeds, even making that, if we've got time, making the vegetable beds as well, testing the soil to make sure to see if the soil is appropriate for growing, because there are some areas that are contaminated, and then actually planting out, and then actually mulching the bed so that the food can grow. And that is in a nutshell of what the course is going to involve as well. And obviously the knowledge and science and skills behind that as well. So we give them information, and they'll get an information pack, course content as well, which will give them advice and further opportunities for learning or courses that they might want to get more information or learn more, or they might want to come back here and learn some more as well. This is cool. Someone described it as the Holy Grail. Randy and people in this circle, Permaculture circle, call this the Holy Grail.
Holy Grail of the garden.
Exactly, of the system. And the reason why is that, well, I think it's up to about 60-70% of household waste, kitchen waste, can be used for composting. And what's really interesting is that, again, referring back to nature, this is a cyclical system. So what happens is here we put the food in the compost, it composts, we take it out, we put it back into the ground to grow food. We eat the food, go toilet, and the whole system starts all over again, in a simplistic sense as well. And here we've got not just the food one, we've also got a urinal, so different types of composting system. So what we do, put the food in here, and then we use the compost to basically plant the food in as well. So that's a really good system.
You've got a wormery you were showing me earlier down
another
there.
example of a compost system. One of the key things about a healthy environment is how much biodiversity in animals and insect life is within it. So the pond was introduced to increase the amount of biodiversity that happens within the garden, and so the more diverse insects, animals you have, the more healthier the environment it is, because they all create their own ecosystems as well.
And this section here at the back of it, you're saying is insects?
Yeah, it's basically an insect sanctuary. So insect houses or sanctuary, and what happens is there's these little kind of little areas within wood where basically insects can nest and protect themselves, and create their little houses as well. The forest garden is basically another replication of a natural system that exists. Forest, Amazons, and the key thing here is it's 3 layers. As a ground cover, which you can see, like there's comfrey, you can see there's basically the herbs as well, exactly, they're coming through. And then you've got your mid-level, your shrubs, which are like your fruit fruit bushes as well, your blackberries, your black currants, your red currants as well. You've got some fennel that's growing up in there as well. And then we have the canopy, which is the trees, the fruit trees as well. And each layer feeds into each other. So we've got fruit trees, fruit shrubs, I should say, black currants, red currants. We've got strawberries around the edge. We have chard on the ground. We have comfrey on the ground as well. The trees, apple trees, pears.
Fruit trees.
Yep, exactly, fruit trees as well. We have that as well. We have some herbs as well. We have, rosemary as well, bit of thyme as well.
Lovely rosemary bush over there.
It's really beautiful as well. So, these are all part of the ecosystem of the forest garden as well, the system that exists as well. And that's it really, when it comes like spring and summertime, it all comes to life. And it's a really beautiful space as well.
So in terms of maintenance, you're planting it up and then
let it take care of itself.
Yeah.
And I think this is crucial. I think, within the permaculture movement, there is a whole science or whole movement that's kind of trying to create spaces where you don't need to maintain a lot of stuff. You just you let nature take its natural course as well. It's very important. So it's a really good system for that as well. So that would do too much work.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
For inviting me back today. I hope to be coming back again soon.
Look forward to it.
Thank you. So there we have it. If you're interested in taking part in the course, want to know more about growing, planting, your soil, your pots, permaculture, get in touch with the PCS Learning Centre on 0207 801 2702, or you can email us on pcslearningcentre@pcs.org.uk.